Now, kindly state your name and occupation for the record. Your real name, sir. Ashley. Oh boy. Whew. No wonder you didn't go with that name. You have been whispering to each other for quite some time now. Tell us, what is the discussion about? Discussion? With this fella? Pull the other one, sunshine! Just because we had our backs turned from the courtroom, leaning in very close to one another, we were, making out? Oh, you idiot. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? I am the Story-Driven Gamer, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're hopping back into the Great Ace Attorney Adventures, and in the last episode, we found out that there may have been an accomplice involved in this case. Which I had said before that I thought that there would be a third party of some kind. I wasn't sure if they were related to the Skulkin brothers in any way. I thought they might have just been a completely unrelated third party, which would have been quite a coincidence if, you know, you had Gina and Windibanks there having their little fight, the Skulkin brothers breaking in, doing the, you know, trying to steal something, and another person, or I had suggested maybe two other people. But yeah, it turns out Eggert Benedict, or AG, whatever his real name is, might have been involved, and it seems like he was actually an accomplice with the Skulkin brothers. We found out that the green blood at the scene, the one, you know, that's all over the calendar, which I just assumed, you know, oh, that's got to be Sholmes, right? But no, it turns out it was not. The blood matched the blood that was on the little, you know, disc, the music box disc. And of course, even though I forgot about it, that's where Eggert Benedict cut himself on when he was fighting over it with Gina. So it all pans out. Unfortunately, that's not enough evidence to use in court, because in their mind, they don't see that as viable evidence, which I guess makes sense, right? It's some invention that this little girl made. Even if she is like a genius, basically. They don't know that. So it makes sense that, you know, that they wouldn't just take our word for it. We present some colored blood and are like, here we go, this is our evidence. But yeah, we fortunately are able to at least get him onto the stand. So that's what the next episode is going to be about. We're going to have him, we're going to get his testimony, I'm sure, and figure out what's going on. And as I said in the last episode, I'm guessing that we're starting to get into the part that will connect, you know, this case to the third case, because I'm still pretty sure that the McGuilded stuff, he has some kind of connection to McGuilded, so that'll come back into play. Just to kind of put out there my theories, you know, they're not new theories. I'm just saying I still think McGuilded could be alive. That's really it. I still think he could be alive, since we never saw him actually die. It was some elaborate plan. Either he is dead, and this is just stuff, you know, AG is doing all this on his command. Maybe he told him to put these plans into motion, you know, before he died. Or he's still alive, you know, kind of ringmastering this whole thing. But we'll see. So without further ado, let us hop back into the game. Oh, we're back in the, wait, where is this? 17th of April, 12:41 p.m. The Old Bailey Defendant's Antechamber. Oh, sorry, excuse me. The Old Bailey Defendant Antechamber. I don't know why it looked different. Or it looked like a different angle. I don't know. But yeah, it is the antechamber. Gina! Gina. How are you holding up? Very well, I take it. I'm starting to feel quite warmly towards her frequent cold shoulders now. Ginny! Are you alright? Why aren't you saying anything? Okay. Good talk. What's the point, eh? Why go to all this trouble and fight so hard for the likes of me? What? Well, you saw it. That picture. What picture? Yeah, it's pretty damning. Ah, you mean this? The photograph taken by Hurley's red-handed recorder? Yeah, that one. Well, I didn't think it would have captured a scene like that, that's for sure. It's openness. Anyone who sees that gonna think I did it, ain't they? Well, yes. I won't pretend it wasn't a bit of a shock when the prosecution first presented it to the court. I still got your back, Gina. Surely you've got out of your doubts about me now. You can't still think I'm innocent. Of course I can. Humph. Do you want to be found innocent or not, Gina? Which is it? Ginny, why don't you talk to us? Tell us what really happened that night. Eh? Ryuno cleverly managed to piece together a lot of new information, but still, we'd really like to hear it from you. Yes. Alright then. Yes, tell us. It was after we'd had that dinner at your place, right, Iris? Then we all had a chat up in your office, didn't we? Yes, I remember. Yes, and you were going at it with Sholmes. Well, not with Sholmes, but you thought he was hiding something. After that, I just couldn't get to sleep. So I slipped out and went down the street to the 2-to-1, the Winterbank's place. I had to know if Iris' story was there or not. The Hound of the Baskervilles. I don't know what it's about, nothing. But if you ask me, there's something that Sholmes don't like. Some what you don't want people reading. So I was gonna say, did she get to see it or not? So that's why I lied to Iris about sticking it in lug with Winterbank for safekeeping. At least, that's what I thought at the time. Yeah, I think we saw that it was there. So you broke into Winterbank's? I had to know if it was there or not. I mean, I had no idea all that was gonna kick off, did I? Yeah. But the interesting thing is, was this so important that you would have had to hold him up at gunpoint? But we'll see what happens. We'll see what she says. I struck the lock and stuck inside. It was dark as you like in there. So I gave the old oil lamp on the counter a bit of a wick, and that's when... I guess that's when... What do you think you're doing? Ah! I nearly died, I did. The next thing I knew... I grabbed the gun off the counter and was waving it in the air like, I don't know what. Okay, so it was her. Because I did say that you technically can't see her face. Her hat is covering her face, so maybe somebody disguised themselves as her. But she's saying she seems to remember it. Oh, you're the girl who's here this afternoon. I don't think pickpockets went in for armed robbery. The mantle script. Have you got it here? Did Sean leave a load of papers with you? A story? I beg your pardon? The Hound of the something or other. If it's there, I want to see it. This is not a very smart idea, Gina. I'm sorry, young lady, but I'd sooner die than relinquish an article belonging to one of my customers. I don't want it. What would I do with it anyways? I just want to see its air, that's all. Oh, you want to see it, do you? I want to know if Sean's really pointed there or not. Please, just let me see and I'll go. Oh, very well then. Okay, he agreed to it. So I guess that's how they ended up in the back, right? But for pity's sake, stop waving my gun around, would you? Did she give it back to him? At that point? Or maybe she just hold on to it. So then the old cove unlocked the storeroom door and we both went inside. Okay. And it was there, alright, the mantle script. Sholmes weren't lying after all. You did all that just to check for me, Ginny. She's a good friend. A bit misguided, but... Anyway, then there was a bit of a kick-up in the main bit of the shop. Okay, I guess that's the Skulkin brothers. The Skulkin brothers arriving on the scene, yes? What was that noise? Someone's breaking in. What a night. 2 in 1 night. Dear me, there's some burglars convention here tonight that I don't know about. I think I forgot to shut the door behind me. Sorry. I better go and take care of it. Could I possibly have my gun back? Oh. Well, I'll come with you and... Now, don't be foolish, young girl. You must stay right here. Don't leave this room under any circumstances. Okay, and we know how the rest played out. And with that, he took the gun out of my hands and walked back out into the shop. I hung back in the storeroom, like you said, straining my ears in the dark to hear what was going on. It sounded like they got into a bit of a scrap. I started to think I should help, see? So I was just about to go out the storeroom myself when... Bang, bang! I had a couple of shots go off. 2, I think. Interesting. Almost at the same time. Okay. Did that pan out? Well, I guess so. If one was Eggert Benedict and the other was one of the Skulkin brothers, they might have, if they were together, they might have both shot. Interesting. And then there it was, right at my feet, lying face down on the floor. I was right next to the storeroom door, so I slammed it shut and locked it quick as you like. Yep, that's what we figured. And that would also explain if I didn't see at all who was shooting. If I didn't take it in, she just closed the door shut and hid. Because you thought whoever had shot Mr. Winterbank might come for you. Yeah, so I went to grab the old cove's gun. I figured I'd put up a fight at least. But when I got a better look at him, I knew he was dead. Winterbank was a goner. Yeah. Poor guy just defending his shop. Another day at the office. I felt funny in my head all of a sudden. Kinda dizzy. And I guess he just passed out. And after that, I don't remember nothing. Yep. That must be when you passed out, Gina. So, but the question is, did they confirm that the gunshot in his shoulder, like, I know that he was shot and she had the gun and that's pretty damning, but did they, like, with certainty, conclude that the bullet was done by his own gun, or did they just assume that based on the fact that she had the gun in her hand at the scene? If I hadn't done what I'd done, the old cove might still be alive. Did you tell the police everything you just told us? Of course I did. They don't believe a word of it, did they? All they said was, if I kept telling lies, it would make things even worse for me. Yeah, if I could do a pickpocket, if I didn't take you very seriously. I'll be alright, Ginny. Don't worry. Just stay strong a little longer. Ryuno's about to put the real culprit through the mill. Yes, we got you. That cove what was there in the afternoon? That Eggert Benedict? That's right. That's our guy, I think. I still remember how he looked at me, like I was nothing. He was there that night. Get him. We don't know his real name yet, but I'm convinced that he's involved somehow. Anyway, thank you for telling us what happened, Gina. I appreciate your honesty. Yes, that was very helpful. You what? You can leave it all in Ryuno's capable hands now, Ginny. We got you. Or we got this. We got your back. Mr. Nara Odo, or whatever your name is, I still don't know. Yes? How come you trust me? I don't get it. I don't either. We have really bad track record with this. I mean, have you forgotten what happened there before? Come on, it was only 2 months ago. Me and McGuilded. We told you a whole pack of lies. Yeah, there's that. And you got the bog trotter off with him, even though he was a killer. Okay, yeah, that is all true, but... No, I could never forget that. Oh. I did what I thought was best at the time. But I've grown since then. But the pain of that error of judgment doesn't get any easier to bear. Still, don't forget that I also made you a promise. I told you that I'd be on your side to the bitter end, no matter what. But what if I'm lying? You could be working to get another killer off the hook for all you know. You know what, you're right. You know, I don't trust you anymore. That's a good point you brought up there, Gina. I'm done. You can defend yourself. You ungrateful little swine. I'm just kidding, Gina. I was once in your position, Gina. I was the accused in a trial. Oh, man. That feels like so long ago. You were? Before I left Japan, I was accused of murder. As strange as it might sound, the circumstances of the crime were pretty damning. They always are. I was sure that no one would believe it wasn't me who done it. Oh, Runo. But there was one person who stood up for me, who believed in me, and was prepared to defend me. My good buddy Kazuma. My best friend. Yeah. Bring in that music. Ryunosuke, no one believes in you more than I do. Leave this to me. All you need to do is put your faith in me, and I'll do the rest. I was so happy I cried. But even then, somewhere inside me, I couldn't help thinking, surely he doesn't really believe in me. Not completely. Yeah, he can relate, but I was wrong. Yeah, that's where I learned how to finger point and desk slam. It was great. As soon as my trial began, it was obvious that he had an absolute, unwavering belief in me. And in turn, I developed an absolute, unwavering belief in him. I asked you to do the same, Gina. Since then, I came to realize, if you want someone to believe in you, you have to believe in the other person first. What are you saying? I promise you, Gina, that no matter what happens, I'll keep believing in you. So you don't need to worry. I won't let you down. Like everyone else in your life. Even though I'm a diver and a no-good liar. Yes, even so. You're not like McGuilded. I know that. Eh? That's right. You're our friend, Ginny. Iris. We know you better than you think. And we've come to the conclusion that you're someone who we can trust. Even if you've given us plenty of reasons not to. Yes. That's really all we need to know. Exactly. Mr. Naruodo, here come the waterworks. Defendant Gina Lestrade and a legal representative. Stop crying and get in here. Trial proceedings are about to resume. Please head into the courtroom immediately. Yes, of course. Thank you. Okay. Is that the first time we've seen Gina cry? I've been both a defendant and a defending lawyer in my time, so I knew only too well just how hard it was to put all your faith in another. And I also knew just how hard it was to bear the burden of another, putting all their faith in you. This is it at last. The final chapter, the final battle. Oh wow, we are here. Wish me luck, Suzuto-san. And I hope you're watching over me too, partner. Wow, here we go. This is it. This definitely is it. I mean, I shouldn't say definitely, but it seems likely. 17th of April, 1:41 p.m., the Old Bailey courtroom. Where is he? Get Eggert Benedict on here. I hereby call this court to order as we resume the trial of Miss Gina Lestrade. Lord Van Sykes, have you successfully subpoenaed the witness? The subpoena was delivered to the communication station where the man works immediately, my lord. However, the heavy rain was delayed the arrival of his carriage, it would seem. I see. Hey, you've been after something. Then let us turn our attention to Inspector Gregson's preface of the case heard by the court this morning. The glaring omission of the third bulletin you report is a serious blunder, Inspector. Yeah. Yes, I can only apologize, my lord. Yeah, I was gonna say, we found it in 2 seconds. And although the defense's chemical analysis of the blood at the scene makes for a compelling argument, I cannot permit such untried methods to be used as evidence in my courtroom. As much as it sucks, I get it. Humph, it's a big mistake to cross Harley and me. A very big mistake. You better watch out or you'll be the next murder victim. Okay, calm down, Iris. My lord. Oh, hello. The subpoenaed witness has just arrived in the building. Thank you, hentai protagonist. Show him to the stand without delay. Mr. Eggert Benedict. I didn't expect to be crossing paths with him again so soon. And certainly not like this. Hello again. Oh, we got a party up here. Thank you for complying with the court subpoena at such short notice, sir. But of course, my lord. As an upstanding member of London society, it is my pleasure to oblige. Now, kindly state your name and occupation for the record. Your real name, sir. Ashley. Oh boy. Whew. No wonder you didn't go with that name. Okay. Ashley Grayden, Communications Officer. Mr. Grayden and I... Oh my gosh, sorry. There. Mr. Grayden and I both work at London Central Communication Station. Now, perhaps somebody would kindly explain what all this is about? Ashley, you were... Oh, sorry. You were apprised of the situation by the court officer on your way here, I presume? Yes, I was. Something to do with a murder that took place at a pawnbroker's on Baker Street. And some nonsense on me having been there on the night in question. That's right. That is the accusation indeed. Well done. This really is beyond a joke, you know. Very well. Without further delay, the court will hear your testimony now, Mr. Grayden. Mr. Ashley Grayden? Aha! What a name. You will respond to the accusation made against you under oath. Oh yeah. Look at me go. Gladly, my lord, gladly. Witness testimony. The accusation. I'm telling you, whenever we get to a testimony, I have flashbacks to, not last episode, 2 episodes ago, whenever it was. Naturally, I have occasion to make use of pawnbroking services from time to time. Okay, naturally. But are you seriously suggesting I colluded with these thugs to break into the place on the night of the murder? Okay, so I don't know if I said this, but it seems likely that he's not just an accomplice with them. Like I'm sure he's the leader, and maybe he hired them or something to help him to break in, and I'm sure they were looking for something very specific. Did I read this yet? But are you suggesting I colluded with these thugs to break into the place of the night of the murder? I think I did read that. I have no intention of admitting to such an outrageous accusation. Even if certain parties are present to claim that my blood was found at the scene. Some Scaramouche detective's homebrewed tincture can hardly be taken as serious evidence. We'll have to find some other evidence then. So, you deny the accusation completely, do you? I must say I am dismayed. For the highest court in the land to be swayed by this self-professed detective's toy. It was the will of the jury, and our great British justice system demands that the jury's will is upheld, even if I think they're a bunch of idiots. Then it would seem we have the misfortune of a most inept assembly of jurors today. Hey! They may be interesting characters, but the jury is law. Until they turn against me again, then I agree with you. By golly! Say that again! You ragamuffin! How long am I expected to be detained here? As long as it takes, sir. If following the defense's cross-examination your involvement in this matter has not been established, you will be free to leave immediately. Good. Then I shall be away in time for afternoon tea. Some small consolation at least. This does not hold up Mr. Grayden any longer than necessary, counsel. Proceed with the cross-examination. So, we meet again. Mr. Eggert Benedict, But can I call you Ashley? Princess Ashley? Or is it Mr. Grayden? Imagine that's another fake name. My apologies. You are? Surely you remember me. I stand out. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, defense lawyer. We have met. I don't remember you in the slightest. If you say so, Ashley Grayden, enchanté. So. Oh. Thanks for the hat. Ah! I trust we can conclude this quickly. But I'm not holding a flashy hat while we do. I'll just toss that on the floor. Here we go, cross-examination time. Get ready, Van Zykes and AG, I'm coming for you. Oh good, my thingy reset. My health. We'll see if that helps me any. Okay. Naturally, I have occasion to make use of pawnbroking. Skip that for now. Are you seriously suggesting I colluded with these thugs to break into the place on the night of the murder? I am suggesting that. I have no intention to admitting to such an outrageous accusation. Even if certain parties here present claim that my blood was found at the scene, some Scaramouche detective's homebrew tincture can hardly be taken as serious evidence. Okay.
Hold it!
Have you seen these two men before? This pair? No, I don't associate with criminals. Ha! They're like, no, we don't know Mr. Ashley. Yeah. Said by a man who introduced himself as Eggert Benedict. I'd like to know who I have to thank for this. Who made this outlandish accusation against me? The young lawyer there in the black. This is a farce. Oh yeah. Come on, look at my moves. You think I'm capable of murder? Whose idea was it to permit an outsider to work in a British court anyway? Racist? Well, needless to say. Okay.
Hold it!
Where were you at around 1 in the morning on the night in question, sir? That is past the hour at which I would normally retire. Certainly. I was not in the company of these rapscallions. Right, Ringo and Nash? I mean, damn it. You able to prove that?
Objection!
Uh-oh. What is it? Listen carefully, my learned Nipponese friend, for you appear to be under a gross misapprehension on this point. What do you mean? The witness maintained he was not at the scene of the crime. He has no obligation to prove its absence. If your accusation is there, the witness was present at the scene. The obligation lies with you to prove your assertion. Okay, I mean that makes sense. You got me there. You will fulfill that obligation before putting any more unreasonable questions to the witness. Oh yeah! I'm so sexy. A silent victory wiggle. Thanks. He didn't have anything to say. He was just like showing off his moves.
Hold it!
Blood was found at the scene of the crime. There's no question of that. Mr. Sholmes' chemical analysis has positively identified the substance as such. But I am not the only human to have blood running through my veins, am I? How can you be sure that the blood is mine? It could equally be the blood of one of these two miscreants. Every individual's blood has a slightly different composition, it seems. Mr. Sholmes' chemicals able to differentiate... Spare me this science lesson. Who is this Sholmes character, anyway? The Sherlock Sholmes? You don't know him? Oh, I assumed all Londoners would know the name. He's a great, well, a renowned detective. I wouldn't call him great, per se. So, even you are unable to bring yourself to say great detective. A great detective, you say? Now we're in the realm of fairy tales, are we? Who there? Got something to say there, Nash? I still can't get the names right.
Excuse me!
Do you have something to say about that, Mr. Skulkin? What? Me? No, the other one. No, the Mr. Skulker next to you. What? I've had up to here with this? How many times I've got to tell you? Yes, I know. You're not Big Bruv Sulky. I'm not talking to you. Mr. Nash Skulkin. I did get it right. Yeah? Court blimey, governor. You what? Yes. It is not the case that when Mr. Grayden just spoke, a thought went through your mind. I am very perceptive. Would you care to share that thought with the court? Eh? My thoughts? I don't have none of them. It must have been him. You what? It was definitely you, Nash. Mr. Nash Skulkin, answer the question, please. What went through your mind when Mr. Grayden just spoke? Nothing. Honest, Gov, nothing. I was just thinking. If he waves his arm around like that much more, it'll open up the wound again, that's all. What? What wound? Where he took the bullet, of course. The one that was shot at him by Mr. Winterbanks. In the pawnbroker shop, of course. Oh, damn it, Nash. It was only 2 days ago. It ain't gonna be healed up yet. So I was, well, you know, I was worrying for him, and... Oh, L's balls. Oh, L's bells. Hey, that was the name. I mean, it wasn't officially the name, but my, at my church had like a bell choir that I was a part of for a little bit when I was younger, and we always made a joke when we were having like when it wasn't going so well or we were having a bad session. It's like, oh, it's Hell's bells. Not Hell's balls. Hell's bells. Mr. Grayden, did you hear that? Yes, I'm surrounded by idiots. What? Your comrade is worried about you, it seems. So that actually helps us with 2 points. One, that he obviously he does know them. You know, they do know each other. And the fact that he has a wound, a bullet wound, I'm assuming, is obviously proof that he was shot by somebody. On account of your injured arm. What of it, my lord? Yes, Mr. Grayden? I have no idea what these 2 wretches are talking about. Certainly I shouldn't be expected to answer anything in relation to their mindless insinuations. Can I ask you? I have you on the witness stand. We know that someone other than the victim was hit by a bullet at the scene of the crime 2 nights ago. And from the height of the bullet hole in the wall, that person was likely hit in the upper arm or thereabouts. And that's what you're holding. Perhaps you'd allow a court official to examine your arm, sir? The left arm that you're currently clasping with your right hand, as if in pain? You guys could not be any more obvious, could you? No, I refuse. You have shown no evidence whatsoever that links me to these common thieves. Ha! I can slam my desk too, damn it! Accordingly, I'm not obliged to permit any such invasion of my privacy. Is that so? As I've already said, I'm completely uninvolved in all of this. I've never had anything to do with the pawnbrokery where this fellow was killed whatsoever. Okay, well that's a lie. We were there. We were literally there. You may not remember us, but we remember you. I take offense at the insinuation that I was in any way involved. You claim to have had nothing whatsoever to do with Mr. Winterbeck's pawnbrokery? My lord, the defense would like that last statement to be added to Mr. Grayden's formal testimony. Very well, counsel. Okay. Continue with your testimony, Mr. Grayden. Okay, so let me look. So we just need proof that he was there. The bottom line is I've never had anything to do with the pawnbroking establishment where the man was killed. I think we do, actually. Is it one of these tickets? A redemption ticket issued from the pawnbrokery owned by the victim. Mr. Winterbank in the form of some handwritten notes on the back of a photograph. No, it doesn't say anything about... Yeah, it doesn't say anything about Benedict. Oh wait, we have the picture, right? Wait, do we? Oh, maybe not. Never mind. I might have to keep pressing, because I thought I had something that proved it, but I don't think so. At least not yet. Like, we obviously have the blood clue here, but we already established that's not enough proof. Okay, let's keep going. Let's press him. I guess we can press him on this. Maybe we have to, you know, keep pressing him, and maybe we'll get the photo as evidence, and then we can use that here. I don't know.
Hold it!
Never had anything to do with it. You forget that I was there, Mr. Grayden, on the very afternoon of the incident. Obviously, I am not a complete stranger to the pawnbrokers. I'm currently on the lookout for an armchair to furnish my study. No. No, you were there to redeem an article. I have no idea what you're talking about. What do you got to say, Gregson? You know what's up.
Excuse me.
Do you have something to add, Inspector? Eh? Come again, Sunshine? You were there too, in fact, weren't you, Inspector? That afternoon. Maybe? Yeah, I was gonna say you have nothing to hide. Well, yes, I do remember meeting yourself in the pawnbrokers that afternoon. Your young Japanese assistant, and the accused were all present, as I recall. And at that time, this witness, Mr. Grayden, was trying to acquire a particular article. Oh, that's right, he even pulled a gun on us. You were there. Well now? I'm afraid I don't remember too clearly. What? But you must. I remember he escaped. He escaped in like a puff of smoke where he did a little dance and disappeared, and you were like, after him, men! I'm not going to lie and pretend I remember something that I don't. Okay, he's covering for him. What's going on here? Gregsy showed us a picture before, didn't he? You know, from the cameras that Hurley installed in Winterbanks. Yes, of course. Indeed, and the gentleman pictured bears a striking resemblance to the witness, I must say. He's even wearing the same stupid outfit. Exactly, which proves that Mr. Grayden was in the shop on the afternoon in question. At no point have I denied that fact. Okay, so now he's saying now that, like, yes, he's been there, but there's no proof that he was pawning something. Or pawning off an article of any kind. Or picking one up, for that matter. I merely entered the shop to pursue the articles on sale and have a word with the broker. Nothing more. Yeah, what he said. This makes no sense. I understand why Mr. Grayden might be trying to cover his tracks. Yeah, but why Gregson? Or why would Gregson be trying to avoid giving testimony about what happened? I don't know what you're talking about, Gov. That's all he's going to say on the matter, is it? What do you think, Runo? I think he has no intention of telling us anything. He's well aware that the less he says, the less chance he has of giving himself away. The complete opposite of Hurley, then. He seems to think that the more he says, the better. Yeah, you should probably, cut that out. Well, at least I managed to prize a little more information from these witnesses' lips. All thanks to the Skulkin brothers. Yes, they were the key to it after all. So he says that he had nothing to do with Winterbanks. Well, we know that's not true. Perhaps now would be a good time to have a proper look through the court record. Good idea. You never know what tiny scrap of information could become a valuable weapon. I feel like it's one of these. I mean, this is the coat. But will this prove that it's him? Because his name is nowhere on this, right? Even the blood stain here is Mason's. You know what? I'm not taking any chances. Let's just press him on this first point. This is the only point I haven't pressed him on yet. So let's do this, and then I will see if we get anything from this. Yes, we even met in the very pawnbroker where the crime took place on the afternoon of the day in question. Though, of course, you introduced yourself by a different name at the time. It was Mr. Eggert Benedict, I believe. Tell me, what made you the witnesses here to testify about events that took place that night? He is under no obligation to answer Such unrelated questions. You can't be serious. Thank you, because I certainly do not feel inclined to answer such an inappropriate question. So he's going to be evasive, is he? In an effort not to give anything away. This could be tricky. Okay, that gave us nothing. Yeah, it's gotta have to do with the tickets, and I mean, this is we know this is specifically what he went to get. I just don't know if we have any proof. I mean, it says one gentleman's overcoat, but he's not like wearing it or anything, right? And again, his name isn't on here. It's the only thing I can think of doing, though, so...
Objection!
No! This is okay. I'm not gonna read this. Okay, is there anything in the photograph that would prove that he had been there? But again, we're trying to prove that he did business there, right? I mean, could it be the disc? That's the only other thing I can think of. Why not? Here we go.
Objection!
There we go, okay. Have you ever seen this disc before, Mr. Grayden? Why, is it supposed to mean something? I mean, I know that this is what he went to pick up. I just don't know how this is necessarily proof specifically. Like, there's no proof about the disc itself that would implicate him, but we'll see where he's going with this. This disc was, until the day of his murder, in pawn in Mr. Winterbank's shop. It was redeemed by the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade, that afternoon. However, somebody mysteriously appeared to try to take it from her. And that somebody was you, of course. Wasn't it, Mr. Grayden? As I have reiterated numerous times now, you are mistaken. That was not me. I've never seen that disc before in my life. It may have escaped your notice, but there is a small smear of blood on the disc. Ah, yes. Resulting from an abrasion of the thumb, perhaps? That's likely. That's right. The surface of the disc is covered in hundreds of tiny metal bumps. In the skirmish to acquire the disc, the thumb of the person who tried to take it suffered minor lacerations. Shut up. So, while the disc bears the remnants of that skirmish in the form of this smear of blood, the thumb of the person in question must bear the remnants also, in the form of a scratch. Good gracious. Indeed it must. I mean, it could have healed by now. I don't know how many days after the event this is. Mr. Grayden, it might just be like a couple days. Like, if we're talking about a gunshot wound or something like a major injury, then yeah, there'll be remnants of that, but depending how deep the cut was, it might have healed. But I guess even so, I mean, even when a cut heals, like, you're still gonna see a cut, for a while after, until it fully heals. You refused to allow a court officer to examine your arm before. Are you now going to refuse to allow us to examine your thumb? Because I have no doubt that it bears a small scratch consistent with the smear of blood on this disc. Well, well. Actually, he wears gloves, so maybe even... I mean, he might have changed his gloves. His gloves could have a cut in them. It would seem I underestimated you. What? What is the meaning of this? So you admit it now? You admit you have a scratch on your thumb from when you attempted to take the disc from the defendant? Admit it, sir. Order! Order! Well, Mr. Grayden? It would appear there has been something of a misunderstanding here. I did not attempt to take the disc, as you put it. No, quite the reverse. What are you trying to say? He's gonna say that, whatchamacallit? He's gonna say that he had the disc and Gina tried to take it from him. Oh yeah. It's really quite simple, you see. The disc was mine from the outset. Is there some crime in taking an item that you own out of a pawn? What? It would seem, Mr. Grayden, that on this piece of evidence, my learned friend has established a link between yourself and the incident. Accordingly, you will tell the court everything you know about this disc now. As you wish. Though I'm quite sure it had nothing whatsoever to do with the pawnbroker's murder. So I had the right idea on the last one. They were trying to present, the idea that he, left something there, but it was the disc, not the receipt. The disc. There's a note on the disc saying from McGuilded, but the item belongs to me. The redemption ticket was stolen from me by the accused, that filthy guttling on the day in question. I proceeded at once to the shop in order to explain my situation and redeem my article. In the end, of course, the disc was taken by the police. In other words, I had absolutely no reason to break into the shop later that same night. That is true. If you did, it had nothing to do with the disc, because the disc was already taken away. Did I hear you correctly, sir? McGuilded, you say? The famous London philanthropist? Who died in a fire. Allegedly. Who perished in this very courtroom 2 months ago, after being acquitted of a distinctly messy murder? Yes, my lord, that's the one. The one and the same. Good lord, Mr. Grayden. Are you saying that Mr. McGuilded and yourself were acquainted? Yes, that's correct. Interesting. I knew all about that. Order! Well, I certainly didn't expect to hear that name uttered here in my courtroom again. According to what Gina told us, this disc was placed in a pawn on that fateful night 2 months ago. McGuilded himself gave instructions to deposit it at Windibanks. It's funny that Mr. Grayden here is claiming the disc belonged to him then, isn't it? In all likelihood, he's lying. So he appeared that afternoon at Windibanks in order to get his hands on McGuilded's disc for some reason. Counsel, you will commence your cross-examination, please. Let us do this. The disc. Okay, there's a note on the disc saying for McGuilded, but the item belongs to me. Okay, let's hear about that. Would you care to explain how this belongs to you? As you will observe, a communication officer such as myself commands a fine salary. You are certainly exquisitely dressed, sir. So you see, I have little need to make use of the services provided by the pawnbrokery trade. However, I did once find myself in difficulties having misplaced my purse whilst on an errand. Ashley Grayden has a purse, which is why I pawned my fine black overcoat to the broker in question. You claim that was your overcoat? Obviously, and in my haste I clean forgot that the music box disc was in its pocket. And yet, there's a note on that that reads, for McGuilded. I am a collector of rare and unusual music box music. I first met Mr. McGuilded at a gentleman's club in the city, and was interested to discover that he shared my penchant in that area. Go figure. So the disc in question? It's a pre-production sample. I promised to let Mr. McGuilded hear it. But then you forgot that it was in the pocket of the overcoat you were forced to pawn. Yes, exactly. Gina didn't mention any of that in her testimony 2 months ago, did she? No, because McGuilded had threatened her to keep her mouth shut. Which means that if we dig too deeply here, it's going to expose Gina's perjury. Yeah, might want to avoid that. Oh dear, this is complicated, isn't it? Let's leave it alone for the time being. Okay, what next? The redemption ticket was stolen from me by the accused, that filthy guttling on the day in question.
Hold it!
So you're saying that Miss Lestrade lifted the ticket from your pocket or bag? That's right, despite being mindful of danger when walking in the salubrious areas her kind frequent.
Objection!
Miss Lestrade did no such thing. Well, of course you would take that stance, but the girl is a regular offender. You came to the pawnbrokery that day prepared with all the information you needed to identify the defendant. You were looking for her. That's before you to Windibanks. To get your hands on Mr. McGuilded's disc.
Objection!
My learned friend is a veritable front of nonsense. Don't mind him. Nonsense? Screw you, man. I concur with the prosecution. You are an imbecile. Counsel, you will refrain from conjecturing in this way. Is that clear? Yes, my lord. Then I'll continue with my testimony for what possible use it can be. Okay, so far we've learned nothing. Okay.
Hold it!
Had you ever been to Winterbanks before? Only once, for the purposes of porting something. But like many, I enjoy browsing in such establishments. So, when you notice the pickpocket had taken your ticket, you chase after her. Is that correct? Yes, that's right. I didn't notice at first, of course. Such is the art of the pick purse. But when I did, I headed to the pawnbrokery at once, in order to reclaim my coat before the thief could. I was merely trying to recover what was rightfully mine in the first place. He can say what he likes because he knows we have no evidence to contradict him on this. In the end, of course, the disc was taken by the police. Yes, it was.
Hold it!
Gregson took it. Yes, it was taken by Inspector Gregson here, wasn't it? That's right. This was the very man. Apparently, the police are collecting anything that has a connection to Mr. McGuilded as evidence. What do you have to say, Gregsy?
Excuse me.
Is something wrong, Inspector? What do you mean? The last remark Mr. Grayden made in his testimony seemed to trouble you in some way. No, it didn't. It's nothing. Leave it alone. Let me ask you this, Inspector. Why is Scotland Yard gathering Mr. McGuilded's possessions? Answer me. I can't tell you something like that, Sunshine. What is it, Inspector? Investigative secrets? Yes, exactly. You should know all about that. Magnus McGuilded, who died so unexpectedly after his trial 2 months ago. A man renowned throughout the capital for his great contributions to public life. Yet he had a dark side too. Yes, he did. A very dark one. Where are you going with this, Van Zykes? I suppose the police are dealing with the aftermath of this nefarious activities, are they? Of his nefarious activities. That's enough! Coppers like me have duties to carry out that we're not at liberty to talk about. That's all you need to know. Duties conferred by Lord Strongheart, I presume. The Lord Chief Justice appears to have great faith in you, Inspector. Now, I said a while ago that, that I wasn't sure how much I trusted, Strongheart. We haven't really seen him much lately. But I do wonder if he's up to something behind the scenes. Like, maybe he's carrying out some secret investigation. I mean, he clearly is carrying out an investigation, but I wonder if it's, like, something nefarious or not. The bottom line is, if you want to get more out of me, you're gonna need Long Strongheart's footprint first. Okay, where is he? Get him on the stand. What's all this about? It's like there's something going on between Gregson and Lord Van Zykes here. Well, it would appear that the inspector has revealed all he is at liberty to reveal. Mr. Grayden, let us return to your testimony. Gladly, my lord. Okay, did we get anything out of that? In other words, I had absolutely no reason to break into the shop later that same night.
Hold it!
Perhaps you'd seen something of value among the forfeited items? No, not at all. Oh. A valuer is brought in by the police to assess everything in the shop. Without exception, every article on the shelves was common or garden bric-a-brac. Bricka. In that case, it's clear. Then you broke into the shop later that day in order to recover Mr. McGuilded's disc. Have you not been listening, man? Even if I had wanted to recover the disc, you may recall that it had been seized by the police that afternoon. It was no more in the shop that night than I. As I keep saying, I simply had no reason to break in. So there was nothing of McGuilded's left in the shop that night. Nothing this man might have been after. I wonder if that's really true. Bruno, if you have some evidence, then let him have it. I'm dying to see that irritatingly assured expression of his crumble. McGuilded slipped the disc into his coat pocket and had it deposited at Windibank's. Then, when he realized he was going to be arrested on suspicion of the omnibus murder, he threatened Gina and forced her to take the redemption ticket. There's no doubt about it. That witness is lying through his pearly white teeth. The police were obviously after anything left behind by McGuilded as well. That's why Inspector Gregson ended up taking the disc into custody that day. But why didn't he take the coat? Okay, I think this time it's the coat. But Gregsy's being very strange about all this. There must be a reason for that, I'm sure. I just don't know what it is. For now, I need to focus on exposing the fact that Mr. Grayden is lying in his testimony. Okay. Right, does that make sense? If Gregson is trying to take all the, everything belonging to Mr. McGuilded, he took the disc, but he didn't take the coat. I think it makes sense, right? Like, he might have gone back for the coat, but again, didn't Gina have the coat at this point? But maybe if she saw Gina go in, oh, maybe that makes sense. Gina, hang on, let me see the picture. Yep, Gina was wearing the coat. So if he saw Gina go into the shop with the coat, he might have been like, oh, damn it, I need to get that back. It even had blood on it, as we know, so it would have been... Yeah, okay. I'm gonna go with this.
Objection!
Dang it! I'm just gonna right away try the, and then I'll probably reload if it's wrong, because kind of like the last one where I had the right idea, I just presented the wrong thing. I'm gonna try the picture with Gina wearing the coat. If I'm on the right track, yeah, I could be completely off base.
Objection!
Nope. I'm pretty sure at this point, because Ira said at the end of it, like, if you have evidence, present it. So you have to prove that he had a reason to break into the shop. I mean, there's this. We know it's connected to the coat because of the picture, right? We know that these are one and the same, so we already know that the coat is tied to Eggert. So maybe he went back for this box? I don't know. Let me take a moment and think. Maybe it is the box, because we established that the coat and the, whatchamacallit are no longer there, but the box is. We don't know what's in the box. I'm gonna try it.
Objection!
Yes, there we go, okay. Again, I feel like I was at least on the right track. I knew what I was trying to do. This disc was deposited at Windibank's on Magnus McGuilded's instructions. You knew that, and you went there with the intention of obtaining it for yourself.
Objection!
Conjecture again. In any case, the disc was taken into custody of the police that afternoon. The witness had no reason to visit the pawnbrokery again that night.
Objection!
But he might have gone for something else. Sorry, my learned friend, but that's not true. What? Mr. McGuilded had another article in pawn at Windibank's, as this second pawnbroker's ticket proves. Oh. There were two articles belonging to Mr. McGuilded in Windibank's pawnbrokery, and the reason you broke into the shop that night was to recover the second one. Together with your two accomplices, the Skulkin brothers. Oh. This is the second ticket, is it? What had the man deposited? We don't know exactly. The article description reads, one small box. A rather vague description, it seems to me. Are you suggesting that I broke into the pawnbrokery with these clowns in order to steal some trinket box? I believe there are adequate grounds to suspect that you did. This is absurd. Why on earth would I do such a thing? Once the article had been forfeited, I could simply walk into the shop and purchase it. There would be absolutely no need for me to resort to theft. That's a good point. Unless you're worried about what's in the box. Maybe you don't even want Windibank to, like, open it up and see what it is. Or maybe when it did go on sale, or, you know, in the shop, maybe he would have, like, taken whatever it is out of the box. Whoever goes to buy it would have to, you know, see what's in the box. Indeed, the witness makes a solid argument. So that means that, for some reason, this Grayden fellow needed the small box that very night, does it?
Objection!
It could be that too. It's time to put an end to this nonsense, my lord. Could you be a little less cryptic, Lord Van Zykes? I do hate to ruin my learned friend's argument, but the truth is quite incontrovertible. On the night in question, no small box was taken from Winterbeck's pawnbrokery. And rest assured, the prosecution can prove it. Say, what now? What? Good gracious! Inspector, show the photographic print to the court, if you please. Oh, photographic prints. There's a couple. Or more than one. Yes, sir? What prints? These prints were taken from one of the detective's security cameras. Hurley's red-handed recorded again. As previously explained using this plan of the shop layout. The victim's establishment was furnished with automatic cameras in 2 locations. One was at the cop to the counter where Mr. Winterbeck received his customers, and the other was at the cart to the shelves on which articles were placed for sale once forfeited. According to the information on this ticket, McGuilded's small box had been forfeited already, 2 days before the incident, at 9 p.m. on 13th April, to be precise. Which means it would have been on the shelves of forfeited items in the front shop. Okay, so it was already on sale at that point. Now, what I have here is a print taken by one of the cameras about 2 hours before the incident. That's at 11 p.m. on 15th of April. Okay, is it there? The victim certainly had a very full shop, it would appear. I think I see it right there. And then there we have another print. Okay. This one was taken about 2 hours after the incident. How do you know that's the same box? I see. So we have 2 pictures to compare. Oh, you know what could have happened? He could have taken whatever was in the box, right? It's not the box itself, but probably what was in it. So, just saying the box is still there. So, you know, obviously he didn't take it, but I think what we might find out... Okay, we have 2 side-by-side pictures. I think what's going to happen is we're going to use the stereoscope trick. And we're going to find something similar that the box... Between these 2 pictures, the box was moved. Which would mean he picked up the box, opened it, took whatever was inside and put it back. But it might not be in the exact same place. I'm trying to look just with my own eyes. I don't necessarily see a difference. Yeah, I don't really see a difference, but again, it might be slight. Though I must say that placing them side by side leaves me cold. Dear me, that's starting to make my head ache. Obviously, at Scotland Yard, we considered theft as one possible motive in this case. We explored the possibility that something had been taken in addition to the victim's life. So your men have already compared these 2 prints thoroughly, Inspector? Yes, sir. We found nothing. We counted every single item in each of these 2 photographic prints. And the yard's conclusion is that exactly the same number are present in both. In other words, nothing was taken from the pawnbrokery on the night in question. And my learned friend's assertion is nothing more than a hopeful fantasy. Ah, phooey. I don't believe it. If I could have just shown that he'd stolen McGuilded's pawn box. We still can. Oh yeah, I am innocent, baby. I might have been able to break him down at last. You know what, Runo? I've been thinking. I wonder if these 2 photographs really are exactly the same. What? My thoughts exactly. So, counsel, in the light of the evidence put forward by the prosecution, what is your position? It seems that in fact, on the night in question, nothing was stolen from the victim's establishment. Do you accept the prosecution's assertion? No. Not at all. I don't know. Could there be some hidden discrepancy in these two photographic prints somewhere? Ah, yes, use a piece of evidence. We're gonna use the stereoscope. Before I give my answer, my lord, I'd like to try something, if I may. Try something? What do you mean, counsel? I'll need to use a certain piece of evidence from the court record to identify the discrepancy. This should be interesting. I'm not entirely sure I follow. Which piece of evidence do you intend to use to help you identify a discrepancy between the two prints? This thingy-majigger.
Take that!
I like to use this device, my lord, to view the prints stereoscopically. Oh yeah, baby! Yes, you've caught the bug at last. You can't resist it, can you? You've got the cross-eyed compulsion. Brother in arms. Juror number 3, what a surprise. Come on, Runo. Let's put the pictures in place and see what this wonderful contraption shows us. There we go. Now look through the eyepiece. Oh. I didn't even notice that. I was looking at the box up there. I wasn't sure at first, but there's a clear discrepancy between these two prints. What? You must identify the location in question for the court, counsel. Indicate the precise location of the discrepancy of which you speak. Oh, I don't know. It's this. The time is odd. No, it is obviously the only thing glowing in the picture.
Take that!
Granted, these two prints are almost identical. However, there is one minor discrepancy between them. What? Okay, yeah. I was looking at the wrong thing. Oh, I can see it now. Even... Okay, wait. I want to see the single picture again, because now that I'm looking at that, I did notice before they merged together that you could clearly see that that was moved over a little bit. But this, of course, helps to point it out. A single area stands out as being different. The location of this small box. Okay, my point still stands, but I was just looking at the wrong box. Let me wait. Unbelievable. What the hell, man? I don't know why, I love that little sprite of him just standing there all like cool looking with this goofy little gadget. Oh, the judge is doing the cross-eyed thing. By Jove, you're right. How extraordinary. What this tells us is very simple. Mr. McGuilded's small box was indeed not stolen from Winterbanks on the night in question. However, there can be no doubt that somebody picked up this particular box and then returned it to its place on the shelves. Are you suggesting that the small box originally deposited by Mr. McGuilded is in fact... Yes, the very small box I just identified in those photographic prints.
Objection!
Mindless guesswork. What if it was? So a box was moved on the shelf. Nothing was stolen. Which means quite simply that nothing has changed. That may be true, but... Alright, McGuilded's box wasn't stolen then. But doesn't the fact that it was moved like that change things? Yes. I believe this changes everything about the case. How can that possibly be? The crucial point is the fact that what was moved was a small box. In other words, we have to consider what might have been inside that box. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting that we need to examine that box as soon as possible. A vital piece of evidence is sitting on the shelves at Winterbanks as we speak.
Objection!
Poppycock, that won't be necessary. Some little box belonging to a man who died 2 months ago can't possibly be relevant to this trial. What does the judge have to say? The court did not uphold you there. The court did not uphold your objection, Lord Van Sykes. Bailiff, arrange for an officer to go to Barker Street at once. Obtain the small box in question and bring it back here for further examination. Yes. I mean, it's gonna be empty, I suppose, but maybe there'll be some trace evidence. Bring it on, Van Zykes. You and me. It's on. And you, Ashley. You really need a cooler villain name. What are you talking about? My name is cool. We should have a report within half an hour. Oh, so we gotta wait. I think perhaps we should recess for a short while until the evidence is brought forth. To be hoodwinked by such a farce. Humph. Disappointing. I beg your pardon, Lord Van Zykes. This is nothing but a smokescreen. A Nipponese specialty, it would seem. Hey, just because things aren't going your way, doesn't mean I'm up to some no-good trickery. Okay, sorry about that. I just took a break for a moment till the lawn people left. So, hopefully they are gone and then I'm just taking a break or something. So, let us continue. This is nothing but a smokescreen, a Nipponese specialty, it would seem. What are you trying to say? My learned friend has persisted with the same line of reasoning from the very beginning. That this witness's intent was to steal an article belonging to Mr. McGuilded from the pawnbrokery. Yet common sense tells us that none of the articles have value enough to be worth stealing in the first place. Slam! Exactly! It would be beyond absurd to bring it to a place for the purpose of stealing such commonplace property. Well, not if I mean, it might not have nothing to do with their worth, right? Like, it might be to grab it back. It could be evidence, condemning, McGuilded for the past crime. I don't know. Pour me some grape juice. If your lordship recalls, Mr. McGuilded perished 2 months ago, immediately after the conclusion of his trial. And in case it wasn't clear, because I think when we first met him, I pointed out that, like, I know that's not grape juice. I'm going with the if you played any of the other Phoenix Wright games, you know that there's, like, I think it was for censorship reasons, like, there were other instances where characters are drinking, like, wine or something, but I guess they want to make it family friendly, so they turned it into grape juice. And it doesn't seem like they're doing that in this case. It looks very much like that's wine, but I'm running with the gag. A trial in which he was found not guilty. A trial in which it was established he was the upstanding member of society his reputation implied. In fact, good one, buddy. So I propose a toast to my learned friend and his most insightful defense. The articles this upstanding member of society pawned were entirely ordinary. A black overcoat that just happened to have a music box disc in one of its pockets, and a small box. I assure you, I wouldn't accept even if the man tried to make a gift of such things to me. Well, you're saying that these items are worthless, but we don't know what's in the box yet. The box, it could be something valuable, or like I said, it could be something condemning him for the crime. You know, that does make rather a lot of sense. It's not as if I was gold or jewels, is it? Though goodness knows Mr. McGuilded was rich enough. But you can't deposit such a cash at a pawnbrokery, blah 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 blah, something. I didn't read that last part. The prosecution's argument is undeniably compelling. It is incumbent on the defense now to bolster its argument. Into the fire! To explain what possible significance these commonplace articles pawned by this fine citizen could have. Well, counsel, is your argument in fact demonstrable? Are you able to show proof that the disc or the box are in any tangible way related to this case? Well, I don't think so. What's the matter, Runo? We know that they're related, don't we? They're both vital pieces of evidence. Yes, of course. You and I both know that. We know McGuilded's true character, and we know the disc is significant, even if we don't know why. Yeah, I'm not sure if we can prove it, though. But if we explain all that to the court at this point, we'll have to acknowledge that McGuilded's acquittal 2 months ago was a mistake. That the defense's argument was flawed, based on false information. That's true. Oh no! And that would mean admitting that Gina committed perjury. Yeah, we're trying to avoid that. But Ginny, could it be that Van Zykes knows? Is that why he's doing this now? Because he anticipated everything? But maybe this could be a great opportunity for us. Sorry? What do you mean, Iris? Well, what is that you always say, Runo? Sooner or later, the truth comes out. Every time. That it does. Alright, the exact significance of the things that McGuilded deposited with Mr. Winterbank is something that only Gina can explain to the court. But if I put her on the stand to testify about that, it could critically damage our chances of winning this case. Deep breaths, Ryunosuke. What matters is we find out the truth. What's the right thing to do here? I say we have Gina testify if we truly believe in our client. And it's funny because in like a real court of law, you want to avoid that, right? Like you usually don't want your client to testify. That's like, unless you're desperate. But maybe we are a little desperate. But if we truly believe in our client, hopefully this will help us. Let's do it. My lord, the defense would like to make a proposal. Oh? What proposal, counsel? While the court awaits the arrival of Mr. McGuilded's small box, I would like to call the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade, to the witness stand. The defendant? To what end? It's to do with the various articles deposited at Winterbanks by Mr. McGuilded, my lord. Miss Lestrade has information relating to them. I believe it would be beneficial for the court to hear what she has to say. It will prove the significance of the articles in question once and for all. Well, well, things are becoming interesting. I presume you've considered the implications of the testimony you're proposing. In particular, the impact it will have on the accused's standing, and indeed your own. Yes, I have. Lord Van Zykes, would you care to explain that last remark? The prosecution accepts the defense's proposal. I move to interrupt the cross-examination of the current witness and hear from the accused herself. Oh good, can I leave? Very well, if you have no objection. So, the court will now hear the testimony of the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade. You witnesses currently in the stand may step down until further notice. Huzzah! Then I shall bid you good day. Wait. You, sir, shall remain in the stand while Miss Lestrade testifies. Come again, as you wish. Oh, I thought he agreed to it. Alright then, Gina, it's time. I know this will be hard, but please, put your faith in me here. Good luck, Runo. Here we go. Gina, buddy. The articles that Mr. McGuilded had deposited in Winterbank's pawnbrokery are intimately related with the omnibus case, the trial of which was heard in this courtroom 2 months ago. Yes, and I remember this young lady being brought before me in that trial as well. That's right, my lord. Her testimony helped to establish the innocence of the defendant, Mr. McGuilded. The omnibus case was intriguing, to say the least. And now, here we all are again, the same players in that trial facing each other once more. Ain't that quinky-dink? A twist of fate, perhaps, my Nipponese friend? You can say that? You got this, Ryunosuke. Allow me to recap the events of 2 months ago. An old brickmaker was stabbed to death in an omnibus running along London's winter streets. Apart from the victim, there was only one other person in the carriage, Mr. McGuilded. Naturally, he was the prime suspect for the murder. But as the trial progressed, another possibility emerged. That the murder in fact took place above the defendant's head on the roof deck, with the body then being dropped through the skylight into the carriage below. Yes, it's all coming back to me. It was Miss Lestrade whose testimony brought that possibility to light. At the time of the incident, Miss Lestrade was concealed under a seat in the carriage, hoping to pick the pockets of unsuspecting passengers. Then, immediately after the trial, having been acquitted of the murder, Mr. McGuilded died in this very courtroom in the most extraordinary of circumstances. A mystery that remains unsolved even now, 2 months on. Wouldn't it be funny, quote unquote funny, if Gina did it? Cause like, you know, obviously she was being blackmailed, so if she was like, after this, like, I need to get rid of this guy, and she did it. Yikes. Again, my main theory is still that maybe he faked it. A mystery that remains unsolved even now, 2 months on. I think I said that already. As indeed does the omnibus murder itself. Be that as it may, I recall neither the disc nor the small box being mentioned in the course of those proceedings. Miss Lestrade? Got something for us? Would you tell the court now, please? What really happened on the omnibus 2 months ago, I mean? I don't know what you mean. I already said all of what I know. Come on, Gina, work with me here. And what about everything you told us yesterday from inside your prison cell? Egads! Please, Miss Lestrade. This is extremely important. We're going right into it. But... Remember, little girl, if it transpires that you willfully withheld information in the trial 2 months ago, the Home Office will seek to prosecute you for perjury. Oh dang, he's coming right out and saying it. And naturally, you will lose all credibility as a witness. Although, let's face facts, you have little credibility to lose. Ginny, don't listen to him. Please, you have to trust Runo now. Iris, we're on your side. We got you. Alright then. I'll talk. It's the right choice, Gina. Unless you end up getting arrested for perjury, in which case, my bad. Well, it would seem that my learned friend is hell-bent on bringing the entire courtroom down about his ears. So be it. I must confess that I'm struggling to understand what on earth is happening here. However, it would appear that Mr. McGuilded pawned articles, and that's an extraordinary case of the omnibus, harbors secrets of which we have been hitherto unaware. So, Miss Lestrade, you will now give your testimony before the court about the events of 2 months ago. You will reveal the truth, a commodity surely lacking in your original statements. This is it then. Everything's going to come out. Like Van Zyke said, this could bring the whole courtroom down about my ears, but as a lawyer, I'm prepared to take that risk. The real truth of the omnibus case. Truth is, that brickmaker code was in the cabin of the omnibus the whole time. It's gonna be hard though, cause now I gotta recall, you know, the last case too now. When the Irishman dragged me out from under the seat, I saw that disc on the floor. All of a sudden, I heard a scream from over my head, and the pair on the roof deck went off to call the slops. Like the cops, I guess. That's when McGuilded slipped the driver some tin to do a run to the pawn shop roundabout. He threatened me not to snitch, not to say nothing to no one about what I'd seen or heard. Ooh boy, good grief, this is outrageous. What you just told the court bears almost no resemblance to your testimony 2 months ago. Yeah, as you say, my lord. Then there's every chance I may have advocated an error in McGuilded's trial. That sounds very much to me as the man deliberately deceived this court in an effort to cover up the most wicked of schemes. Without doubt, your lordship is correct. A great injustice was done in this courtroom 2 months ago. The actions of the accused in that trial, of this witness, and of my learned friend are entirely inexcusable. Yeah, I was just doing my job. I knew nothing. I don't believe it. The whole trial was a farce. It was all lies. That McGuilded fellow was drawn to the core, just like that pickpocket. Don't forget that lawyer from the east. They were all on it together. You're wrong, the lot of you. Mr. Naraodo, the lawyer there, he didn't know nothing about it. Humbug! Uh-oh. I don't think so. Are we really expected to believe that? He really stitched everyone up, didn't he? What an operation to get the man off scot-free. Unforgivable, stop. The lies have to stop, stop. Okay, this isn't looking good at all. Yes, the defense made a terrible error of judgment. I intend to take full responsibility and suffer whatever consequences are deemed appropriate. However, it's imperative that the court allows the witness to elaborate on her testimony, because the true significance of McGuilded's porn articles must be brought to light. Very well, my learned student friend. Huh. Oh, really? That easy? Given the depths of calamity you've just plunged yourself into, this may well be worth hearing. Yeah, he probably figures, like, okay, if you went through all this trouble knowing I could incriminate her, incriminate you, then it must be worth it. Words fail me. This situation is utterly deplorable. Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, my lord? I will decide upon your fate following the conclusion of this trial. Of course, my lord. Follow me, Mr. Naruhodo. See? Hopefully that gives her some faith in us too. Like, we're willing to do what we have to do. Now, counsel, proceed with the cross-examination. Here we go. The real truth of the omnibus case. Truth is, the brickmaker code was in the oh wait, I already read this. I can just read it normally. Okay? When the Irishman dragged me out from under the seat, I saw that disc on the floor. Let me just take one look at this. So we know the victim found deceased on the floors on the last scheduled omnibus of the day after a stab wound to the abdomen. Okay. Yeah. So, Mason Milverton, he's a brickmaker, East End of London. Trial summary, defendant Magnus McGuilded, prosecution attorney Lord Baden von Zykes, and defense attorney us, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Conviction was assured with 3 eyewitness testimonies. However, a surprise 4th witness's testimony resulted in acquittal due to insufficient evidence.
Hold it!
Tell us about this. Was the disc you saw this disc? Yeah, I reckon it probably was. It was right next to the cove lying on the floor. Could this disc have belonged to the victim, perhaps? I don't know, but McGuilded picked it up pretty smartish. And then he sat the cove with the knife in his belly up in the seat. What did he say to you at that time? He told me not to say a word about what I'd seen or heard to no one. About the disc and all. I was dead scared. The way he was looking at me, I thought, if I didn't go along with it, I'd get stuck with that knife too. Then he started asking me a load of questions. Like what my name was and where I lived and that. He asked me about being a diver too. But after a while, what had happened in the carriage was noticed. Yeah, that's right. First there was a kind of rapping noise. Okay. All of a sudden, I heard a scream from over my head and that pair on the roof deck went off to call the slops.
Hold it!
The sloppers. There were 2 gentlemen occupying the seats on the roof deck, I believe. That's right. I remember them. They must have looked down on the skylight and noticed the cove with the knife in his guts. When they screamed, the driver pulled up the horses and McGuilded got me out of sight. Okay. Out of sight? Where? Back onto the seat where I started off. Once the carriage came to an halt, the 2 coves from the roof ran off to fetch the slops. If they immediately left to fetch the police, it would appear they were entirely unrelated to the incident. So that left McGuilded, the driver, and you still at the scene. Yeah, only the driver didn't know I was there because I was under the seat. I heard the cabin door open and a voice from outside. The driver, yes? He also testified in the trial, I believe. That's right, this old guy. A fellow who went by the name of Beppo, if memory serves. Beppo? What did McGuilded and the driver say to each other? I don't know what happened, and stuff like that, mainly. Okay. Yes, let's definitely hear about this. That pawn shop obviously being Winterbanks on Baker Street. Just a moment, counsel. Do you mean to tell me that the driver got false testimony in that trial as well? Perhaps the excursion to the pawnbrokery slipped his mind when he was on the stand. Indeed, Lord Van Zykes. McGuilded took off his coat and gave it to the driver. He folded it up, all careful like, before handing it over. When I saw him do that, I remember thinking, that coat and what's in it is going to be worth a few bob. Bob is me uncle. Yes, Ginny was sure that this must be worth more than Mr. Winterbank was suggesting, wasn't she? I remember her quibbling with him over the price that afternoon at the pawnbrokery. The driver looked pretty happy when McGuilded flashed some brass in his face. He went running off at a lick. Then the bog trotter called to me and told me to come out from the drag's cabin. Okay, we're getting some info. Okay, yes, let's hear about the threatening.
Hold it!
Threatened you how exactly? Told me I'd only be able to scarf if I did exactly what he said. Which included giving false testimony in court 2 months ago. Yeah, that's it. And there was one other thing he said. Which was... He told me I'd have to hang on to the ticket from the pawn shop and make sure not to lose it. The ticket? Well, I never. So that if he didn't show up to get the ticket off me before 2 months passed, I had to go to the pawn shop and pay the money to keep it in lug, to stop it being forfeited. He left me with some brass to pay for it. But really, why on earth would Mr. McGill have done such a thing? And why would she still do it if he was dead? Depositing his overcoat with a pawnbroker before the arrival of the police, it makes no sense at all. There would seem to be only one logical explanation, my lord. What McGuilded had the driver deposit at Winterbanks was something he didn't want the police to see. Something very important that he needed to hide at all costs. Evidence. Anyway, after that he let me go, so I legged it before the coppers showed up. Well done, Gina. It can't have been easy to tell the truth like that. Ginny's really put her faith in you, Ryuno. Yes, and to thank her, she'll have to face a charge of perjury once this trial's over. So I need to use the time we have now to get as much information out of her as possible. It's time to really go for it. Press her on every statement. I suppose I should. Oh, and another thing. What's that? Oh, I did see his back was turned. Take a look at those two. Isn't it strange that they've been whispering to each other the entire time? Yes, that is strange. It looks like they're having a secret discussion about something. I'm not sure I'm completely uncomfortable with that. Or comfortable with that. I wonder if there's anything I can do about it. Oh, maybe I can just call him out? I'm gonna press her on this first. Maybe I can just like move over and call them out on it.
Hold it!
But it said to press everything, so let's do that. And you were hiding in the cabin at the time as well, weren't you, Miss Lestrade? If I remember rightly, in the storage compartment underneath one of the state seats. Yeah, that's right. It's pitch black under there, so you can't see nothing at all. So I wonder if I could just like pursue them. Like, excuse me, can you not do that? We'll see. Now, in your testimony 2 months ago, I feel certain that you claim Mr. McGuilded was the sole passenger, did you not? False testimony, my lord. That's what he told me you had to say. But it's important that you tell us the truth now. Were Mr. McGuilded and the victim acquaintances? I don't know. But I did hear him talking a lot. What were they talking about? Well, I couldn't hear too well, but if I had to say, I think it was about money or something. They kept talking about buying and not buying. Perhaps business dealings of some kind? Well, anyway, they got louder and louder. It started to sound like a proper fight. I was pretty scared by then. I hardly dared to breathe. And then all of a sudden, I heard a noise like someone kneeling over on the floor. It was blooming loud and all. And I believe you let out an involuntary scream. Yeah, that's what gave me away. Okay, so I'm gonna try. I can't do. I guess I gotta press her on something random. I'm gonna try just calling him out. Like, what are you guys doing? I'm gonna try it.
Excuse me.
Is there something you'd like to share with the court, Inspector Gregson and Mr. Grayden? That's right. Inspector, Mr. Grayden. What? Blimey, you trying to give me a heart attack? You have been whispering to each other for quite some time now. Tell us, what is the discussion about? Discussion? With this fella? Pull the other one, sunshine! Just because we had our backs turned from the courtroom, leaning in very close to one another, we were making out? Oh, you idiot. You think I got nothing to talk about with a shady gent like this? And I have nothing to say to this uncouth detective about after he deprived me of that dish that was rightfully mine. Now, there's definitely something going on. We know Gregson was covering for him. But they've clearly been talking the entire time, been cross-examining Gina. It's as if they've been negotiating. Thank you, Miss Lestrade. Thank you, counsel. I've heard enough. I believe we now have a reasonable understanding of what actually transpired on the omnibus. It would appear on that night 2 months ago, a negotiation was taking place on the omnibus. A negotiation concerning this disc. However, matters did not run smoothly. When the parties involved began to quarrel over price, McGuilded took what he wanted by force, at the expense of the other man's life. Which proves my point. The disc is clearly extremely valuable in some way, although I don't understand why as yet. And 2 days ago, precisely 2 months after the omnibus incident, McGuilded's coat and its contents were due to be forfeited. I didn't know what I should do with the ticket. I mean, the cove died right after his trial. I knew that. Yeah, that's what I was wondering. So you decided you would try to claim the articles as your own? Ah, okay. But why not, eh? They were only going to be forfeited. Why shouldn't I have got them? Anyway, you can't blame me for thinking about it. Thinking ain't no crime. Mr. Lestrade, it would appear Mr. McGuilded was prepared to kill in order to take possession of this disc. Do you know why that would be? Eh? I ain't got a clue. But I reckon it must be worth a fair bit of brass. He was probably going to sell it. And you can't blame me for thinking that. Thinking ain't no crime. My lord, did we get the box? The evidence your lordship requested has been located and is ready for the court's inspection, sir. It is time, ladies and gentlemen of the jury and the court. The mysterious little box deposited by McGuilded 2 months ago. There's no doubt in my mind that it's a key piece in this far-reaching puzzle. Let's do it. Oh, to be continued. Okay. Awesome, actually. Okay. I thought this might have just been one really long segment up until, just bringing us to the end of the game, but I'm glad we're getting to be continued. Ooh, this is getting exciting. I mean, it's been exciting, but really getting into it now. So now, like I said, now we're making the connections, connecting back to the third case. We have Gina on the stand. She's already revealed all. We're both in deep trouble. We'll see what becomes of that, after this trial's over. Maybe we'll be let off the hook or something. I don't know. Ashley, I'm just going to call him Ashley, because that's a funny name. Ashley and, Gregson are definitely in on something together, which is very shady. We already saw Gregson earlier was covering for him. But yeah, now they were just literally like scheming or scheming or something. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that, but it makes Gregson look shifty. Unless AG we find out is like, maybe it's the opposite. Maybe Ashley is like some undercover officer or something. Because I do remember when we first brought up that, he was, what was he? He worked with, that juror number 5, the place she works, telecommunications place. We were kind of saying something feels off about that. I don't know what it is. That seems weird. It would be interesting if he's some kind of, like, undercover cop. So maybe instead of Gregson being shady because he's, like, oh, he's working with this, bad guy, maybe it's more like AG's or Ashley's really a good guy and he's undercover or something weird like that. I don't know. I don't necessarily think that, but I'm just saying, could be. Who knows? They're definitely working together, though, and something shady is going on. And it goes all the way back to the top, right? The top brass, what's his face? Strongheart. So we'll see if he's an important part of this case or not. And yeah, it's just been discovery after discovery. Again, I don't feel like I did too bad. As usual, I flubbed up a little bit. I feel like both testimonies where I was flubbing up a bit, though. I feel like I was at least on the right track. It wasn't like the 2 episodes ago where I was just like, what am I doing? So, I don't mind that. At least I'm not getting stuck. And that's what I like about these games. They lead you to the right conclusion, even if you make some mistakes along the way. Again, we definitely get into the end of the trial. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe the last part is the final part, the finale. It definitely doesn't seem like we're getting another investigation and another trial, but who knows? I could be wrong, but it seems like we're reaching the climax, so I'm excited. There might just be another episode or two. I don't know how long this recording is going to be, if this is going to be 1 episode or 2, but we'll see. But either way, there's like 1 or 2 more episodes after this probably, and then we might be done, so if I'm not wrong. But anyway, that's all I have to say. So thank you guys so much for watching as always. I really appreciate you all that are watching this series. It means a lot to me. And if you are enjoying it, go ahead and like the video. Also feel free to subscribe to the channel. I could definitely use some more subscribers, and I would really greatly appreciate it. Also, share this video or this channel with whoever you wish. And yeah, and of course hit the notification bell so you are aware when more videos go up if you're interested. And that's all I really have to say. Thank you guys, love you, and I'll see you next time. So take care, and bye-bye.